Welcome to the Dentist Show. Let's jump right in.
Well, welcome to the Dentist Show. Ryan is not joining us tonight. He has been extremely busy. He's been working a ton, running businesses, and also vacationing with some family. And a bunch of dances and all kinds of stuff. So I wanted to jump on real quick and do a solo episode so we can get this. So every week we're still dropping episodes. You will hear Ryan for sure next time, as he is the star of the show. So this one is going to be less comedy because I can't make jokes by myself. Oh, I do, and I laugh at them quite frequently. And you guys probably think I'll be you'd think I am more psychotic if I do that here. So I want to talk about here's the story. So I do go to dinner. I actually hate it. I go with salespeople or supply companies, some labs, and to try to either negotiate better deals or find new products for my doctors or just kind of meet new people. And tonight I went with one of our suppliers, and there's a special markets guy in town. And he said, well, Chase, he just got hired a few months ago. And so he's just trying to get the lay of the land. And he's like, well, tell me your philosophy. Tell me your philosophy of your business. What's your business model? What's your philosophy? And man, like when people say that, it's actually quite difficult. Even though I know the answer, it's how deep do I want to go with this person? Because we can say our taglines of, hey, we make smiles melt more teeth. We create confidence, courage, and freedom to focus on what matters most. Our number one rule is be free. Our values are be 100, bold enough, inner smiles, and I always forget the fourth. But it's be 100, bold enough, inner smiles. It's the experience. And we have these vision statements, we have culture statements, we have mission statements, we have values, all that stuff in it. And when someone asks me my philosophy, it goes back to when I was a relatively new dentist and a new dentist owner. And somebody had suggested reading the book right here, because it's The Science of Getting Rich from Wallace Wattles. It's a weird book. It's like from the 1900s, so it's old. And one of the first quotes he said that really stuck out, and it's even I think it's still currently on our website. We just rebranded, and it's usually in my biography or whatever I say about myself. And he said, "Give every man more in use value than you take from him in cash value." Now, on my website, I changed it a little bit, and I think it still says the same. Give more in service value than you take in dollars or in cash value. And I think that's my philosophy right there. And is that your team members? Is that for your patients? Is that for your clients? Are you giving more in service value than you are taking in cash value? And I think that is so rare these days. And I am patting myself on the back, and I'm hoping you can maybe get something from that. I feel like whether it be contractors, whether it be dentists, whether it be who else lately, like IT people, whoever they are, it seems like what the business world has taught us all to do. And you can go get consulting or coaching from some great office or great consultants. And what they're all teaching us to do is maximize the spend of every patient or client, which is fine. What I struggle with when you do that is, how do I give more in value than I'm taking in? So if they're paying me for every little procedure or adjunct procedure or avenue code or diagnosing things that may not be diagnosed, or putting desensitizer on teeth that don't need it, or fluoride on people that have low caries rate, now I'm doing that. How am I going to provide more in service value than I'm taking in? And it's actually quite difficult to overcome. Same with your team. And I teach my team to try to do the same thing, try to give more in value than they're taking in as a paycheck. And when they do that, they become free, right? They grow so much that they have the freedom to do what they want. And then me as an employer also, there is a price tag per employee. And I also try to give them more than they're providing us. And I think it's actually easier to do because the bar of employment's so low. So most employers don't do as much as we do. So I think that was actually relatively easy. And you got to keep staying on top of it over every day, every year, trying to improve the experiences for your team. While we're on the same, if you guys ever read that book, you have to drop a line, The Science of Getting Rich. Because if you haven't, and sometimes people ask like how I become successful. And I go to this book because it's really an odd book. But in there's a quote that he has you kind of keep saying to yourself. And I have it here on my screen so I could just read it. And the book is definitely weird. And it has some really good takeaways. And so once again, when someone asks me the success, a lot of times I go back to this book. So if you haven't read it, you should totally do it. But he says there is a thinking stuff from which all things are made, and which, in its original state, permeates, penetrates, and fills the inner spaces of this universe. A thought in this substance produces a thing that is imaged by the thought. A person can form things in his thought, and by impressing this thought and impressing his thought upon formless substance, can cause the thing he thinks about to be created. Now, this language he's using is from the early 1900s. We do not speak like this typically anymore. And when he says, whatever the man can imagine, he can create. And 13 years ago, whenever I read this book the first time, and now I probably read through it or listened to it probably like 10 times or more. At the first time I was listening to it, I always thought this was like hyped up words. Like you can do, or even like a extra universe out there. Like you think this thing and this magic happens. Like I think there's gold being mined in Alaska right now. And eventually that gold that's being mined in Alaska will come my way. Okay, that's kind of how I originally thought about this quote. And now I think about the quote and I totally understand. I don't totally understand it. It's still weird. And I understand a little more that whatever you can think of, you can create. And without thinking about it, not creating it in your own mind first, of course, you're never going to be able to create it. If you look at Elon Musk lately, with all the inventions he's coming up with and his company, and not just him, he has obviously some of the brightest people in the world that work with him. He has to, or somebody had to create that in their mind that's going to work. And then they got to work through 10 years of it not working to finally get it to work. And I think that's a success that I've had is you have a belief in yourself that you can do it. And then when you don't do it and you keep failing and failing and failing, you just don't stop. Although sometimes that's easier to do, or you don't. You just keep plugging along. And sometimes that's one step at a time. And sometimes it feels like you're going 10 steps back. Eventually, it will work out. If you can create that thought, and if you need to, you can say the same quote. Just go get the book. I think it's free now. I think Audible might be even free. And listen to it and listen to this quote. Read the quote. Try to understand the quote. Use it and as one of your daily mantras and see what happens. And then really be mindful with what you want to create. Because what you might want now is probably not what you want in the future. So be careful with what you want to create, because what you spend your time on thinking about creating is what you're going to actually create. And then when it doesn't happen, doesn't mean it's okay just to stop. You're going to fail. It's just a matter of how many times you're going to fail before you succeed. We had a conversation a few pods ago, about who fails more. People that fail or people that never fail. And I 100% agree that winners fail a whole lot more than losers. Winners fail so much that it's not a big deal anymore. Like, we will strive to fail, because the quicker we fail, the quicker we know and understand what went wrong to fix it so we can succeed the next time, or we can win. So as you're if you're early on in your business journey, or a midlife guy, or even you might be older and just starting a new business, try to reflect on what you want to be. At the dinner tonight, the special markets guy, who probably most of you guys won't deal with. Special market pretty much means the guys that are working with large companies like DSLs or larger revenue practices. And it's interesting to go with these guys, because these guys strictly go by numbers. What's your revenue goal? What's your EBITDA? What's your multiple you're looking for? And it's always it's fascinating when I say, well, I don't really have a multiple. If someone comes and asks or offer me 10, 15, 20x, it doesn't really matter to me. Although if they do offer 20x, it would be hard to pass up, because that is a lot of money. And I still could. And now Ryan might be a different page there, because it's not all about money, because I know that whatever money I want, I can eventually get. Doesn't really matter what the number is. What I want is to look back at my life and say, okay, I made decisions. I won. There is a measuring stick or a scoreboard, and I want to win the game. I want to master the game. So I want to win. And I want to bring as many people with me as possible to win. And for me to sell to another company or to a DSO or private equity, I feel like that does not allow me to bring more people with me to win. Although I might hit this number, I thought I want $100 million. Okay, well, I can get there. And I hope it's not through selling to a corporate group who's going to try to take every dime from my patients, or take every dime from my employees, or suck everybody dry just to get to their number, right? Because then in my mind, I've kind of failed. And I feel like if I sell for, say, $100 million someday, how in the world am I supposed to give that much value to the company that buys me out? That makes sense. Because once again, I'm always going to try to give more value than I receive in dollars. And that's one of my philosophies. I hope some of you will get that concept, can implement that, kind of think over what that means, and come up with your own philosophy. I think the guy tonight at dinner is well, is it is your business, because I said well, clarify your question. And he's well, is your business model to have the cheapest supplies from us, and then provide a lower quality care? And he was legitly that's normal. Or do you want to do high-end services? Do you want to only use top of line stuff? Do you want to use all our private label stuff? Do you want to, he's totally. When people said do you want to do lower quality work, or I just laugh at them, who would ever say yes? And I can think of a couple DSOs I'd want to rattle off right now. That is their philosophy, to do the bare minimum and to suck every dime out of patients' pockets, to be able to not get in trouble with the board and maximize their profits for their stakeholders or their equity firm. And this goes for not just dentists either. This goes for all services right now, and tech companies that are getting purchased by private equity. I was talking to Ryan last week about a conversation I had and with another financial guy, and he was asking once again, like, why don't we sell? And at that point, I said, I don't think private equity people are dumb. They know what they're doing. They're playing the inflation game, so they might pay us some multiple now, and it's because they know what we're worth in the future. And so whatever your number is, and I don't have any problem. I've helped a few dentists make the decision to sell to DSOs. Totally cool with it. And as long as that's your goal and you feel like that's what you want to do. I've also seen other dentists that sold them and very disappointed with the process and outcome, even though they might have got enough money to retire on. They're disappointed with how their teams or themselves were treated after the sale. Anyways, so I'm not like anti-DSO. I'm more pro you. And you can do amazing things. You just have to create it in your mind first. That's the first step. And so whatever your goal is, create that. Or whatever you want. Create it in your mind first. And then I write it down. And I constantly, anytime I get on the plane, I actually review I actually have a note that's in my Google Notes that says my plan. And it originally started saying my plan 2014. And now it says my plan 2025. I keep just changing the year. The first says, like, quote, that's meaningful for me at this time. And then it says like vacations. And then I have every year, every vacation, more or less, I've been on. So it started 2014 and 2015, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 20, whatever, to 25. And still now. So the year it has like, we went to Australia, so that was a goal. And now it says completed Australia, March 2025. And then I'll say Alaska, July 2025. It says we're going to Puerto Vallarta in October. That says it in October 2025. And after I go, it's complete. So after that, then I have my CE, all the CE I've taken to reach a goal. It says the same thing. So all the CE courses, when they are, and if I completed them or not. And then down below it has all my offices listed, the revenue goals. If I have an equity partner or a dentist that's a partner in the practice, it has what they would like to make that year. And that's my goal to help them get there. It also has the new patients, like their previous years, their current goal, some with their revenues and their margins. So it's listed all. And in the bottom of that, then we have like other goals, like how we're going to help these offices hit their current goals, and what does 5 years look from now. And by reviewing that frequently, it helps me recreate maybe the dreams I've had from 2014. Because in 2012, let's see, I bought my office December 2012. So January 2013, my goal then was to hit $1 million in revenues. And then in 2014 was to double that, which would have been 2 million. So now if I look at that, obviously I don't have the same goal because we'll do 20 million revenues this year. So now my goal has to shift a little bit. Now the goal is to do 50 million in 4.5 years. So how are we going to get there to get that as the goal changed? And now there are some people that I'm actually very envious of called lifestyle entrepreneurs. And so those will just have a number they want to hit, and then they can just focus on other things like other hobbies or other things that brings value to them. And those guys I'm super envious of. But that's not me. I just keep hitting goals and pushing further. So there's a couple maybe action items you can take, things that I've done that I think has moved the needle quite a bit for me. Is this book, The Science of Getting Rich? I think that was the name of it. It's a weird book, but it did a lot for me. Yeah, The Science of Getting Rich by Wallace Wattles. In there, there's that quote of the thinking stuff, and give more in service value than you take in dollar value. And then creating those goals in your head, writing them down, and the third part would be sharing with some loved ones or ones that want to see you win. That's the last thing I'll leave it with, because if you share them with people that want to see you lose, they will try to destroy your dreams. And some do it purposely, some do it subconsciously, and they don't want you to succeed because then they'll feel less about themselves. So surround yourselves with people that want to see you win. And honestly, sometimes you have to pay for that. Sometimes you need to pay for a coach to get you going down that path, or a consultant. Some of you will have some really close friends that just love when you win. And some of you have really close friends that might say they want you to win. In all reality, they want you to lose. Or they don't want you to hit their goals. Or they might say you're too ambitious. Or you might have family members doing the same. So share those goals with people that want to see you win, and they'll celebrate your wins and help you through the losses. I think that's it. That's all I got. So it's a short episode. Sorry the star of the show wasn't here. Ryan will be back with us next time, and we miss him. He'll make us laugh again and help us learn what he did in Spokane that grew those practices so fast. If you haven't, please like us, subscribe, go check out our YouTube channel. We do have one. We have like 4 followers, so any help there would be awesome. And then also check us out on Instagram at The Dentist Show, and then DM us whatever questions you have or what else you'd like to see on the show. Anyways, thanks guys. Sorry for the boring solo one. Hopefully you get something to implement in your lives. If not, then stay tuned for next week and we'll hopefully make you laugh.
Thanks for listening to The Dentist Show. We hope that this episode helped you make smiles about more than teeth. To get more resources to grow as a dentist and to learn more about Chase and Ryan, go to thedentistshow.com or just follow the link in the show notes. If you enjoyed this episode, share with another dentist in your life and help us grow the movement. And be sure to rate and review wherever you're listening.